on this? What can we expect from this? And from that point on, the relationship changed. What we saw was that Motorola began to exert more and more control over the work, telling us what to do, telling us how to write abstracts, what to say in the abstracts, what to say in the papers. I said, how to do the work. No, don't do this. Yes, do it this way. This was unacceptable. I had completed our study of DNA damage, and I submitted the final report to Motorola, and I got a call from Mays Swycord at Motorola. Now, Mays is the former head of the Center for, CDRH, Center for Devices and Radiological Health at the FDA, and he left the FDA and went to work for Motorola. Keep that connection in mind. That's interesting. He also handpicked his successor at the FDA. Anyhow, Mays didn't like the work. Then there was another phone call. Point is, I kept getting nothing from these people. They simply weren't willing to accept my interpretation of my study, my evaluation of my study, my knowledge of science at that point, and tried to urge me not to publish the study. They didn't tell me not to. They just said, no, this isn't ready for publication. And they wanted me to do more work. I stopped taking calls from them, and I went ahead and published the study. It came out in 1998, and I wanted nothing more to do with any Motorola-related work. I wasn't going to put up with that kind of control. I wouldn't put up with that attitude. That was it. I think one has to exercise caution at this point, and what makes the cellular telephone research area so difficult right now is there is no money available for research other than that's coming from industry. So, I mean, what does this do? I don't have any faith in what comes out. I have absolutely none, not with my dealings with industry so far.
In the case of tobacco, it's not possible by what is known as scientific standards to establish that the individual cigarette you're smoking is the one that caused the lung cancer that you developed. And I think it's sufficient by scientific evidence if you establish an association. Now you're at the limits of science, and we have established an association. To say, well, it's only an association, and you can't show me a dead body and the cell phone, the smoking cell phone that caused the brain cancer, is a preposterous industry argument. This is what Motorola now says in its safety section when they put out a manual on their cell phones. Do not, and that's in large capital letters, hold the unit such that the antenna is in contact with exposed parts of the body, especially the face or eyes or ear, while the unit is turned on. So we're not talking about a hypothetical problem. That's where we are now in the company's own advisory language. Honest people can disagree, I think, on the extent of the risk. The extent of the association, I think, is pretty clear. There's an association. But what really angers me, where I have a much stronger opinion, is the corrupting influence of corporate money on science, the buying of science.
In the case of cellular telephones, we're looking at a multi-billion-dollar industry that will only grow over the coming years. And look at the money that's at stake for these people. It's absolutely staggering. Now, what does it mean to buy a study to ensure that your billions and billions of dollars are going to be safe?
Well, I don't want to overreact, but I'm concerned about the stories I've been hearing about electronic radiation. Does anyone really know what the effects are? What do the experts say?
I've been studying the effects of electromagnetic energy for several years and have performed detailed measurements of the radio frequency emissions from cellular telephone transmission systems. First, let me put your concerns into perspective. Basically, when we talk about electromagnetic energy from cellular systems, we are talking about the same general type of transmissions that radio and television use, only significantly less powerful. Despite the considerable amount of information obtained from laboratory research and epidemiological studies, the scientific community has not identified any significant health impact from living in environments where radio and television broadcasts occur around the clock. These systems and their related microwave point-to-point communications link play a vital role in obtaining and receiving urgently needed information. In fact, we have a facility very similar to this one operating right here at UC Davis Medical Center.
The bottom line really is that, yes, RFR exposure is associated with damage to DNA. The scientific literature also documents the exquisite sensitivity of the brain to radio frequency radiation, and Senator Hayden has also mentioned this. Now, all of these studies provide a reason for concern, and I think they provide justification for action, and it's for that reason that I support and ask your support for Senator Hayden's bill.
Each year, including this year,